Can't see the top of your head, Kev. Just if you're worried about that sort of thing.
It's basically the same as that.
Imagine his arse.
How's that?
There you go. Cool. So the titles.
Forgotten the tune.
Yeah, so have I. Hi.
All right.
Welcome to our second episode of series 2. Ooh.
Yay.
New formats and stuff.
They said it couldn't be done.
No,
They said it shouldn't be done.
Should we try that again? Higher energy. Think man versus food.
No, I've just had a massive burger. It was so big. I've got my name on a wall and a t-shirt. Actually,
really good sandwich.
You got me a sticker from that donut place, actually, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
I saw that on Man versus Food.
Oh no, that's why we got it for you, Dave. Because we love and care for you.
Oh.
We also got you some pretty kick-ass Pearl Jam shit as well.
Got to be a lovely poster that sits pride of place on my wall.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that.
That's all right.
Cool. Anyway,
I'd like to go and get you more, if anything.
you can take me next time as well.
Yeah, it wouldn't be my sort of week going, but
that's what we should do. We should take the podcast on the road.
Yeah.
Let's do an episode set in Spain. that's never been done, has it?
What are we doing this week? In episode 2, we are doing our top 3s. We are talking about something that one of us doesn't get. And then we're going to revisit one of our old podcasts and kill off two of the winners. Oh.
We're
Erasing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
What's our top 3 this week, Dave?
Right, top 3s, yeah. We're going to pick our favourite James Bond actors.
Everybody do that. Everybody do that. Everybody do that.
I pick you, Ben, to go first.
I'm going to go Connery. I'm going to go Sean Connery for a couple of different reasons. One, nobody else could have been the first Bond. If you think about any of the 6 Bonds, nobody could have been the first, or they could have all been the first Bond, but nobody would have been held up to him in the way that he was. Okay. And secondly, he cuts the line between being an actual bastard. He's a bastard. He cheats at golf. He cheats at like card games. But he gets away with it because he's
in real life.
And he kills people. I mean,
not Sean Connery. Not Sean Connery.
Killing people's worse than cheating at golf.
My point is,
I haven't seen that movie. Which one's that?
My point is, he's a lovable bastard. There's no denying the fact that he is manipulative. He's kind of callous, but he gets away with it because of this natural charm, this natural kind of instinct to you just warm to him. He's just charisma in spades. And the final point is what makes him the best Bond is he had a career outside of Bond. None of the other Bonds really have. They will always be associated with Bond. Think about it. Like Pierce Brosnan, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, they're always going to be associated with Bond. The only one that perhaps hasn't is Daniel Craig. And that's because of like Layer Cake and a couple of other things that he's done. but everybody else is inexplicably, like intrinsically linked with Bond. Connery, you don't just think Connery as Bond. You think Untouchables, Hunt for Red October, Highlander, the one with the mullet.
Yeah, The Rock.
But there's possibly a reason and explanation for that.
Okay, all right. Think about this then. Okay, we're arguing about this, and I'm arguing the case for him.
Yeah.
Nearly 60 years later, after he made his debut as Bond.
Well, that's my point about him having a career after Bond. He was very young when he did it, probably younger than the rest of them were, and it was a long time ago. So he's had time to have a career.
Roger Moore was, came in. Roger Moore, the times of them playing Bond overlap because of what the studio conflicts of hit Thunderball or whatever it was, and one was a remake of the other, wasn't it? And weren't they both playing Bond at the same time?
How old was Roger Moore when he started playing Bond compared? It's a genuine question. I don't know the answer, but Roger Moore seemed like he was in his 40s, in his late 40s when he started playing Bond, whereas Connery is a young man.
I think he was 58 in A View to Kill, I think, if I remember rightly. Yeah, without Sean Connery, he probably is the iconic Bond. He's the one that everyone, if you go talk about James Bond, most people would say Sean Connery would be the first person that comes to mind, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, Roger Moore was 45 when he started playing Bond.
Wow.
So he had a big career before Bond, whereas Connery didn't have a big career before.
Yeah, TV career.
And the same with Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan had a TV career before Bond. But again, we're still quite old compared to...
Okay.
I take your point, but I think that
Connery didn't... What makes him better, it was Connery didn't have to rely on they all had like exuberant like plots and just crazy plots and stuff like that. So it'd be like hollowed out volcanoes as like evil lairs and things like that. What Connery did better than any other Bond was the suspense. Nobody could hold the suspense like
yeah, maybe actually.
You take the scene on the train between him and Robert Shaw, and it's so tense. No, like he didn't rely on all of the other things. He could just as a presence and as an actor.
You're making a slightly different argument there, though, Benji, because whilst he contributed and made that scene what it is, he didn't write that movie. He didn't direct that movie. So good that scene.
Nobody else would have done it.
No,
Nobody else would have done it. George Lazenby couldn't have done it.
And I know where you're coming from.
For the movie and for the scenes, like saying he didn't rely on these big extravagant things. Well,
but when he did have the big extravagant scenes, you could see that it wasn't as effective. Like most Bonds have done bad Bond films. Every Bond has been in a bad Bond film.
Yeah.
But his bad Bond films aren't as bad as the other bad Bond films, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
They're okay. Some of them are okay. I think he made some of the classic ones, and there are some that aren't, in that period where he made the unofficial Bond as well. Mm-hmm. Let's take that into account. He didn't know when to step away.
Hairpiece. Money though, wasn't
it? So, go on, Kevin, who are you going for?
I'm going to go for Pierce Brosnan. I think as a Bond, ignore the films, because Pierce Brosnan was let down by some real shit.
They were all terrible, apart from GoldenEye, basically.
GoldenEye and whichever one was after GoldenEye is okay. but they were terrible films with poor special effects and things like that. But as a Bond, which is how I'm judging it, not on how good the films were, as a Bond, I thought he was the perfect fit for everything that Bond is supposed to be. Now, other people have been better at one individual thing. So Connery was the very kind of smart, suave, and hard man, but he didn't have the kind of charm. Roger Moore had the charm, but couldn't do the fight scenes. Judo chop.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig doesn't have the kind of charm either. I think he's a kind of Bond as a blunt instrument.
But that's what Bond is, though, isn't it?
He's a gentleman's Bond. He's a charming ladies' man. I think Pierce Brosnan did.
An assassin.
Pierce Brosnan did the whole range better than anybody else did the whole range of what Bond is.
Well, what I feel Brosnan brought, he kind of took Connery and he took Roger Moore and did that. He was basically both of them because
suave but funny.
Yeah, he did the
self-deprecation.
Yeah, he did the double entendres, but at the same time, he was.
But had that kind of ruthless.
Yeah, you can see
as well.
No, I never believed Brosnan as a hard man.
I didn't say hard. I said ruthless.
And he's inarguably the best Bond film.
Yeah, GoldenEye is up there with Goldfinger for me as my favourite Bond films.
Yeah,
but I think he kind of looks like a James Bond type. So I think because he may not have been the best charm, he may not have been the best hard man or whatever, but I think
not the best at PE.
He's the best of the whole range, whereas other people were worse at some things.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've gone for Dalton, Timothy Dalton. Main reason for me is basically it was the first Bond I saw at the cinema, so I think I class him as my Bond because that was I started seeing it. But the James Bond Encyclopedia goes into quite some depth about all the different Bonds. He turned down Bond several times before he hit, and the reason why, because he wanted to be the right age to play Bond. So when they originally asked him in sort of very late 70s, I think, I can't remember what it was now, he was like, no, I'm too young, don't want to do it. And they kept approaching him. Eventually he took it. And I think that's quite a brave move, for an actor. He also, which I didn't know about, but this is actually put him up there for me now. He drove those two movies that he was in, which are arguably underrated. So I think they're very good. They're more in keeping with the character in the book. He has that ruthless. The director of those movies said that he is the only Bond that looks like he's a killer. He's got that wiry sort of face. He looks like a killer.
Didn't he cry? Didn't he cry when his bird died?
Showed emotions in the films. But he drove those movies. He wanted to get away from that Roger Moore almost slapstick
jokey thing.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think what
he reinvented the Bond movie as we know it now.
I think his I think you're right. I think his downfall was those films were probably 15 years ahead of their time. 20 years ahead of their time in that way, in terms of that character. I think people wanted a joke, people wanted a bit of an action movie. They wanted a movie, they didn't want a film. I'm trying to make a movie here, not a film. Right? But I think you're probably right. What they tried to do with that character was to bring it back to the book after enjoyable but ridiculousness of Roger Moore.
Yeah. And he wanted to make the villains more realistic, so they weren't these people trying to take over the world. They were drug runners and
right.
So yeah, I think he was his. I didn't realize this either. He did his own stunts. Did you know that? Because I didn't. So that's quite impressive as well. Although when you look at it, it doesn't look like he's doing his own stunts, but that might just be the way they're filmed. But apparently he did his own stunts. So the changes he were making, this is why I'm going to say he's the best Bond. Changes we were making are why we see Bond now and how we got this more ruthless Bond. Maybe I've got to say that Daniel Craig movies are a little bit like Pierce Brosnan's one good one, and then the rest are a bit.
Yeah, they're frustrating. They're really frustrating movies. There's some great ones, and then you just watch them and you go, "This is just fucking shit. This is just product placement."
And I think if you look at Living Daylights and License to Kill, they're more spy movies than they were previously, where they've gone down this weird route. I just think, he ultimately led us to GoldenEye. This is why I'm going to say he's the best Bond.
I think he ultimately led us to Casino Royale.
And Casino Royale, yes. He wanted to bring that ruthlessness back, and I think he did that, you know.
There you go.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah, the first Welshman.
No, does anyone do an impression of Timothy Dalton? I've never heard of.
No, I can only think of Hot Fuzz. And he's great in Hot Fuzz as well. He's great in Hot Fuzz. And he's obviously kind of very comfortable with who he was and being Bond. Like, you know, you sort of see like Connery didn't want to talk about Bond for quite a long time. I'm going to kind of contradict myself a little bit. Connery didn't want to talk about Bond for you know, wouldn't talk about Bond in interviews and all that kind of stuff. Timothy Dalton seems very comfortable with that, you know?
Yeah. I think so. Go on, let's try and put this into an order then. Nice.
3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3? I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Connery. For the movies or for the portrayal?
It's for the Bond. It's not for the movies.
Okay,
Bond.
Connery, Dalton, Brosnan. I never bought Brosnan. I loved GoldenEye, but I never bought Brosnan.
Well, I would go. Dalton's my favourite, but in terms of iconic movie characters, Sean Connery is the ultimate Bond, isn't he? There's no denying it. So Connery, Dalton, Brosnan. Oh, yeah, Connery, Dalton, Brosnan. That's what I'll go for. What would you say, Kev?
I would say Connery, Brosnan, Dalton.
Yeah, okay.
I've only seen those Timothy Dalton films once each, and I thought they were shit.
They're good movies.
Oh, Benji back again with the
Nice one. So just so you know,
it's the most obvious win ever. Who's the best? Of course, it's fucking Connery.
Benji plays it safe, rolling a 6.
I think we made some good arguments there for the other two, though. I think, you know. Anyway, Radio Times last year did a James Bond poll, and
there's never been a Polish James Bond, David.
There's probably a joke we could do there, but and
I'm not touching that one.
No, exactly. I'm not going there. And it was voted Pierce Brosnan with 23% of the votes, Timothy Dalton with 32% of the votes, and Sean Connery with 44%. They did like a knockout competition, and then they ended up with those three as the finals.
Poor Roger Moore.
I will say though that no other Bond would pull off a tan flared safari suit, quite like Roger Moore. So
Absolutely. I think
Connery would look shit in that.
Roger Moore had the best sense of humour. Absolutely, for sure. He just.
And like you said, Ben, they've all got I would say they've all got a really good movie. Each actor's got a really good Bond movie in them.
Yeah.
So we have officially voted Sean Connery the best Bond.
Yeah.
That's
Brace yourselves.
such an obvious thing.
It's going to be a controversial ride.
Yeah.
Next week, I'm pointing out the bleeding obvious.
Oh, great. Right. Next section.
Next.
I don't get. I enjoyed this last week, so I'm looking forward to this week. And it's over to you, Kev.
Do you know what I don't get?
Go on, tell us.
Queen. Band Queen. Now,
the band Queen.
The band Queen.
Oh,
not
okay.
Queen.
Damn it! I've done the wrong research. Mine's all about Jimmy Savile and
it's amazing.
I can change it up. I don't like Queen either.
It's very quickly. Much the same argument.
It's pretty much, yeah. I don't think it's that they're bad necessarily. I think it's that they're really average, Queen. Their songs are not that interesting. They're decent musicians, but they're not out of this world musicians. They're not the best in their field. You wouldn't put them in the top whatever if you were listing the best musicians. They're good. But if you said to somebody, name the top 50 guitarists you can think of, people wouldn't say Brian May. Or top drummers, they wouldn't say Roger Taylor. They're decent, but just decent. The songs are okay. Some catchy ones, mostly not catchy ones. And they're played...
Oh, they're pretty catchy. The
singles, maybe, but they're not... you couldn't list off loads of Queen's back catalogue the way you could with some other bands that are revered the same way Queen are revered. They're just kind of average songs, adequately played. And I think the biggest hit, Bohemian Rhapsody, is a poor man's Stairway to Heaven. And I think if Freddie Mercury hadn't have died, then
he's going there. Blimey.
Then nobody would talk about Queen. They would be. I can't even think of another band to compare them to. Just how average they would be considered. They'd be a Steely Dan at best.
You make a really good point. Okay, the classic band, the classic bands that we all know, they've all got classic albums, and there's lots of songs that are on those classic albums. But I don't think I could name you a Queen out apart from Queen 1 and 2.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, you make a really good point, Kev. I don't think there's a classic album there. Not in the way that there's a great Stones album, there's a great Beatles album, there's a great Zeppelin album, there's a great Who album. I think they're a singles band, and there's no shame in that. But to elevate them above that is,
and that's precisely what I don't get. It's the elevation of them that, if you like a certain type of music, it's assumed that it's just taken for granted that Queen are great.
Yeah, I mean, for me, they're on one hand, they're the theatrical thing, it's showmanship, right? And it is what it is. It's showmanship, and it's a show. It's theatre. It's operatic, and it's this grand kind of experience. But on the other hand, there's this thing of just.
That's a good point, right?
There's this thing of it almost lacks substance. It seems to me like Danny Baker says a great quote about Queen. The first time he saw Queen, he saw Queen, it was like 1976, and he went to see Queen, and they were still like they're playing like a student union bar in like I don't know Basingstoke or wherever.
They did. They played KMC, didn't they?
And Freddie Mercury says, "Let them drink champagne." This was at the height of punk. And Danny Baker was like, "No, I'm going this way. Like I'm more interested in the spit and the beer and the And it was just that. You imagine being 21 and that theatrical kind of thing would seem so, especially at that time, would seem so foreign. Yeah. It would seem like.
The thing is, right, everything you've just said about, and it's right, about how Queen was like this. No, what a front man. Such a great front man, and it's a show, and it's operatic and all that. Everybody that thinks that is basing it off one thing, and that's the Live Aid performance.
Right? But fair enough. They fucking killed it at Live Aid, though. Fair enough. It's fucking bad that fucking show, though.
Fine, but one fucking good gig doesn't make a band awesome. There isn't endless fucking concert footage that people are putting up on YouTube about, look how amazing Queen were live. It's always Live Aid.
I agree with that. And I also think
I've never seen it.
Live Aid was fucking great. Quo were amazing. Quo were great at Live Aid.
But also, I don't think anyone would, of probably our generation, really would know Queen without Wayne's World.
That's not true.
Yeah, no, Wayne's World.
I knew they were before. I disliked them long before Wayne's World, mate.
No, but that brought that song back into everyone's. Before that, no one was listening. I guarantee you, other than people that came from that period of music from the 70s, listening to those. No, when I was at college, when I was at school, no one was listening to Queen. No one was going, "Oh, Dave, go and pick up the Queen album." But as soon as that Wayne's World soundtrack came out, everyone was listening to Queen.
I heard Big Bottom Girls today. Weirdly, I heard Big Bottom Girls today.
That's actually a great tune.
And it's basically joined together by the Who.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's basically the same song. It's basically the same song.
You're right, Dave. Around about that time, but don't forget Freddie Mercury died around that sort of time as well. It was they became more into the public conscience because around about that time, and have stayed there ever since as this legendary British rock band. I don't dislike them. I don't hate them. I know. And I just don't get what fuss about because I just don't think they're that good.
And like we said, they do actually. They have some cracking tunes. They do have some really good tunes.
There's some great songs. I think I don't know. It's a really hard one because on one hand, you shouldn't have to take them that seriously because it's only a fucking rock band, right? It's only a rock band. You shouldn't have to take it that seriously. It shouldn't bother you that either way. You don't particularly like them, it shouldn't bother you, right? But I get your argument. I don't get them.
Right. Yes, they had some great tunes, but so do the Proclaimers. The Proclaimers are not revered as one of the best fucking bands ever,
Oh, that's great.
So why do you think? Well,
that's what I was going to say, right?
Why do you
what
think
are we missing?
So revered?
What are we missing?
I don't get it. That's why I don't get it. If I'd probably get it, but I don't get it.
So,
but what is it in other people that you don't that you don't see that, like their argument for them being the best, one of the great British rock bands.
There isn't an argument. It's just. It's more that it's just accepted. Like, Queen are great, aren't they? Nobody ever goes, this song's all right, but it's basically joined together by The Who.
So
people don't have that level of thought about it. It's just, Queen are great. Queen are on the radio. Brilliant.
So I looked up, right, other artists that believe Queen are great, if not the greatest, okay? Yeah. And it's absolutely huge. It's absolutely massive. So we are in the minority, totally. So it starts off with David Bowie, Robert Plant. He's on there quoting Freddie Mercury. It's usually about Freddie Mercury. Eric Clapton says on here, I could only dream of doing stuff that Brian May can do. Obviously, the Metallica guys. They think they're
Countryside Alliance March, probably.
It just goes on, but it's like it's across music. So you've got Billy Corgan, you've got Rob Halford, you've got John Taylor, you've got Dave Mustaine from Megadeth. It's like this. It's not just like rock artists like them. It's
heavy metal artists also.
Well, Duran Duran.
Right. It's
when you said Megadeth. Sorry.
Well,
right. It was something that you said. I was thinking about this for a while, actually, Dave. When you were talking about the Faith No More album, right? You said, right, and I wish this line came to me afterwards, right? As you went, it influenced everyone from rock to rap. I wish I'd said from rock to rap to rock rap. Right? I really wish I'd said that at that point.
Brit rock, Heavy Maiden.
But no, and I know lots of friends that are really into Queen. They love them.
People will throw names about like fucking anybody's business, won't they? Especially musicians, because they want to be seen to be so influenced by fucking everybody. Hayden, yeah, Hayden, a massive influence to me. Said fucking Claire from Steps. Do you know what I mean? Like any musician will try to throw out as many different fucking things in an interview to appear more fucking worldly. And I'm so much more than this album. I'm so much more than this genre.
There is a thing that happens, I think, particularly in musician world. Every now and again, a band from however long ago gets reappreciated, and people go, "Yeah, actually, they are great, aren't they?"
Yeah,
right?
It's true.
Happened with
Hermits don't get the recognition they deserve.
They don't. Better than Queen as well. They are. But and it tends to happen with musicians that they'll go, all of a sudden a band from however long ago will resurface. And every musician fucking jumps on it and goes, "Oh, yeah, no, they were brilliant. I love them. I love them as well." You very rarely hear groups of musicians round on a band and go, they were shit, weren't they? What was that?
Yeah, as much as I don't like him, Liam Gallagher's pretty honest about it. Right?
And when there are like large groups of musicians slagging off another person's music, they usually go for the easiest fucking target and say Justin Bieber or Jedward.
Right. They'll go for pop. They won't go for the
one of their own kind of.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I understand. The reason I don't get them, or part of the reason I don't get them, is for everything you've just said, Dave, that they're revered. And that's what I don't get. I don't understand why all these musicians love them so much.
Yeah, and that's the same. That's the same for me. Their best album is probably, was it Queen 2 or whatever it's called.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah. And that's weird. That is weird. Of all the classic bands that you could name, they've all got two or three classic albums.
Is there? There's no one album.
I couldn't even tell you the name of an album, I don't think. Sailing on the Seas.
The Highlander soundtrack.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking badass. That was great.
changed our
And
mind
which
now.
brings us back to a mulleted Sean Connery.
Ah.
So,
So to kind of
There's
think, I don't know what it looks like. All three of us actually agree on this. We don't.
I think so on this one.
We don't get Queen.
not slagging them off.
It's not that I don't get. It's not that I don't get them. I don't get.
We don't get why they're held to such high
I
regard.
don't get why they're held to such high regard.
And
for me, they're as good as any. They're as good as I don't know.
Dave,
they're as good as an early U2.
You won't like me saying this, Dave, because I know you're a fan. But without Freddie Mercury dying, people wouldn't think of them any more than they think of Tears for Fears. Their fans would still like them, but they wouldn't be held in high regard.
Oh no! I think that's
Was Freddie Mercury in Tears for Fears?
Are you a massive Tears for Fears fan?
I think they're brilliant. They're amazing, absolutely amazing. Listen to the albums. They're amazing. I wouldn't say they're a classic band. But...
No, but I don't disagree with you, Dave. But what I mean, they're a decent band, and their fans still like them, but they're not revered.
Oh no! Look, I mean, even if Freddie
Mercury
Mercury hadn't have died, they would have still been fucking huge.
But they weren't.
I still wouldn't have got them.
They weren't.
They would have been. Okay, all right. Okay,
they
weren't.
All right.
Okay. I have the perfect. Example for them. They would have been Genesis.
Yeah. It's a really good analogy. They're all right, but I don't,
Or Dire Straits. Nobody's. You would look back and go, oh yeah.
I like this one. Yeah.
I like this one. At least Brothers in Arms was a great album, right? Not my cup of tea, but
that's the point though, isn't it? Even Dire Straits they've got a classic. They've probably got two classic albums.
Yeah.
And I can't do that with Queen.
You can't do it with Queen, but yet they're held in this thing.
I don't get it.
And Brian, mate, he's actually got, for the guitarist in me, he's got a wicked backline. He has like 16 Vox AC30s all stacked up, all full pelt. Everything's just. But for me, again, what I don't like about Queen is actually the sound of them as well. It's a weird production. It's like, is it overproduced? I don't know. That guitar sound is unique.
Too much. It's too much polish. It's like
it's weird. What are we missing? That's my question to our viewers.
It's soul. It's soul in the music, not in the voice, but in the music. It's like Clapton in a way. Do you know what I mean? You want to hear a bum note. You want to hear a bum note. It's like. Do you know what I mean? You do, because he lacks fucking heart. It feels too polished.
Well, I don't think that's true of Queen. I think, like you say, Dave, they're some decent songs. They're adequately played, but there's just something
missing.
Yeah. For me.
Well, so yeah, what do our viewers and listeners think? I'd love to hear.
Our viewers are going to think hate crime is what they're going to think.
I'd imagine that some of the people that are going to listen to this are probably going to just go, "The fuck are you talking?" But it might actually get some comments. It might get some comments.
Yeah, put hashtag hate crime on this video and see if we get a lot of traffic. And see if that works.
Can you post it with something like, these three guys talked about Queen. You won't believe what happened next.
So our next segment is segment number 3, which is, I don't know what we're calling it, but we're going to kill off 2 of our previous winners from a previous episode. And the episode we're doing is our video game episode. And the 3 winners in that episode were Red Dead Redemption 2, Madden 93, and GoldenEye. Holy shit. Who are we going to get rid of? I can go first because I know who I'm going to. I know I'm going to save. I'm gonna save GoldenEye purely because
was the best Bond. Yes.
well,
Conspiracy.
what? I'm picking GoldenEye. I think it was just so influential in video games. It brought in the multiplayer, the co-op gaming, took it to another level. It took shooting games to another level, the realism, you could shoot them in the knee and they go, oh, you've shot me in the knee and all of that kind of stuff. It was just
my knee. You shot me in the knee.
It was just groundbreaking. It was a groundbreaking game, and so that's my reasoning. Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably going to be taking games to the next level now, but out of those three, I would keep GoldenEye because I don't think we'd be where we are in the gaming industry without that.
Good logic.
Thank you.
Benji, do you want to go, or shall I?
You go first.
It's tough. It's a tough choice between two for me. I'm afraid Red Dead Redemption's gone just because I haven't played it, so I have no frame of reference.
You'd love it, kid. You would love it. You would lose months of your life.
It's good. I should probably play it then because lying on the sofa.
Not got a lot going on.
Yeah. Lying on the sofa staring at my phone for hours and hours a day. It's been pretty dull. Yeah, so that's gone. So between the other two,
If anything, not that. Cowboys, isn't it?
I genuinely loved as a game, and I think it might have. I can't remember if I chose it when we did our top threes. Can't remember. But was it Madden '93? Wasn't it? It was that specific Madden.
It was that because that was. Again, that was it was in terms of that EA Sports progression into game, how the sports games evolved. That was a key one.
Yeah.
That was a key one. All three of these are actually quite heavy hitters.
Core games, aren't they?
Yeah. I'm going to have to stick with Madden just because how much time I've spent playing other iterations of Madden over the years, and without that one, we'd never have the ones that I have.
Well, I think that was the whole argument, wasn't it? That was the whole argument about it was that we were putting in Madden as a franchise. We were putting in Madden as a franchise, the original thing, because it embodied such a long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep Madden just because I have spent hours and hours and hours of my life playing Madden.
I wouldn't.
Creating my own character, making my number, making sure I got to the Hall of Fame over a career.
Yeah. Franchise mode, moving the Raiders to Portland and becoming the Portland Mud Dogs in a shitty red and brown kit.
They only gave me two choices of kit colour.
Yeah, no, shit kits. It should have been green and yellow in Portland, right?
Because you just choose the away kit, which was red and white. So a nice red and white kit for the weekend. It's fine.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a tough one because it's so personal. I think you're right, Dave. That GoldenEye was such a seismic shift in where gaming was at that time and where it was going. And I think because of the release of new platforms and things like that, GoldenEye is kind of the snapshot of that change, that shift, that change in technology, that change in the way that gaming was going. I think I think that Red Dead Redemption, in terms of like writing and characterization of characters and creativity, it's got Red Dead Redemption in the way of like almost like Grand Theft Auto as well. I think some of the writing is fucking amazing. I think if you look at cinema compared to games like Red Dead Redemption 2, the most creative people are working in video games at the moment, right? Like cinema almost seems to be like taking a back seat to video games in terms of the most original ideas.
Yep.
But in terms of just playability, fucking Madden, man, Madden. I lost hours of my life to Madden, hours of my life. And it's so involved, it's so immediate that you don't have that immediate. Do you know what I mean? You can just be straight in. Bears playing Packers in the snow. Come on, man. Bears Packers in the snow. It's great. It's you're straight in. You're beating Packers at Lambeau Field, 63-0. You know, it's amazing. It's great. Great. Who doesn't want to? Who doesn't want to go like unbeaten and win the Super Bowl 74-0? Well, it's amazing. Maybe 3. We'll give them a field goal. Yeah.
That annoys me when they score.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I need to play it on a more difficult setting because.
Yeah, no, I don't want to get. I don't want it because the moment I go to a more difficult setting, it gets too hard, and they start winning, and then I get angry, and then start to play GoldenEye.
Yeah. Keep Madden.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I'm going to keep Madden too. So.
But I think the better writing and character definition and better games were probably GoldenEye or Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go.
They're gone.
So we're keeping Madden 93.
Redemption.
Imagine how bad gaming history would be if it.
Right.
Those 2 games didn't exist. Oh my lord. We slagged off Queen and now we just got rid of GoldenEye, the game.
Just because 2 nerdy lads from Overton got a Chicago Bears video when they were 13 and 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what gaming's about, though, isn't it? There's memories in gaming, actually. Well, there you go. Madden 93, or Madden as a franchise, has been saved, and GoldenEye and Red Dead Redemption 2 have been wiped from history. Wow. Yeah. What have we done? What have we done?
I don't care. The world's a better place.
No, not sure it is. I immediately regret my decision.
So there we go. End of another episode.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's been quite a good one again, I feel. We've gone through our top 3 bonds. We discussed why we don't get Queen. Yeah. And we're hoping
Kev doesn't get Queen. I don't want to get.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll put my hand up and say I don't get Queen.
I'm happy to own it. I don't mind.
I am happy. I would like someone to explain to me what it is.
Why are they so good?
Yeah. Why are they revered? Yes. Why are they out there with Zeppelin and back. And then we killed off GoldenEye and Red Dead Redemption 2.
Crazy. It's crazy to do that.
There we go. So thank you for listening. Yeah, like, subscribe, comment, share, tell everyone about it. Come and join us next time for more fun. Everyone say goodbye.
Ciao, Les.
Catch you next time.